6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for this match review. Frustrating, very frustrating. I think we've got more questions than answers again after another very indifferent performance. But we didn't get beat, but it felt like a loss because of how it went down. I was expecting Danby might be a little bit late again, as always. If not, I'll soldier on and it will be a shortish show. I've had a long day as well. Went to see Paddington in Peru with the whole family, so I'm a bit tired. I feel like an 80-year-old granddad these days. Evening all, welcome to the review show. Please like, share and subscribe to your channel and help. It's free. Please adhere to standard community guidelines, keep the comments respectful, and enjoy the show. You can join from just 99p and enter into our regular monthly members only prize draws, or donate using Super Chat in the bottom right-hand corner if you want to. Stephen brings up a valid point straight away. Our engine room player didn't turn up again yesterday. He's a bit camel. We'll come on to that. Even everyone, Gary, Leslie, Jules is in the house. Even Jules, hope you're well. I've never seen Dancing on Ice. I can't compare. I've never watched a full show, and that just that tells you. Again, Strictly, same thing. Terrible. Evening, Gary. Roger's in the house. Well done, Roger, for winning. And well done, Gary, for winning as well. I've got my orders, Gary, don't you worry. I have sent on the email to Diacro to get them to email you guys with the voucher codes. Roger, Baz, evening, Trouble. We've just about kicked that cold you passed on in York. I didn't have a cold. I had a throat infection or something. So, but I'm glad you're feeling better. Right, so first of all, let's have a look at the lineups. This is what everyone was crying out for. Everyone was crying out for Tino to start, for Dan Burn to come back into the team. So everyone got their wish. As fans looking at it, can't complain with the lineup. It's pretty much what we all wanted and expected, and we got. On the bench, looks strong. We had Trippier, Wilson, Barnes, Uzla, Murphy, Kelly, Almiron, Longstaff, and Dubravka. A strong bench. Palace's lineup, we were a bit surprised to see Eze and Gear, because the word was that potentially both of them were missing, but they ended up playing. Eze only lasted 70 minutes, though, and apparently that's what was always going to happen. Apparently he's got a slight injury, which if they manage well enough, they'll get 70 minutes out of it. They were obviously hoping to try and win the game early, take him off, but they had to take him off regardless. Hughes was another thorn in our side. I thought he played well in midfield. But yeah, and Joe Linton knocked up 200 appearances for the club. If you told me, I would say probably 150 appearances ago that Joe Linton would end up playing 200 times for Newcastle, I think everyone would have laughed at that, because let's face it, he just looked like a £40 million flop, and now he's not. So congratulations to Joe Linton. Wasn't his best game though. Didn't turn up, did he? So very, very frustrating. No, you're welcome, Roger. Thank you for being a fan of the show and being a member, and obviously joining in yesterday. Yeah, Munez impressed. Right, let's just go straight into the stats, because this is the worrying thing. This hasn't happened for a long time. Someone on Facebook tried to say to me this is a regular occurrence. It's not. Only having one shot in a game is not a regular occurrence for Newcastle United. What is, though, is only 10 touches in the opposition box. Now, recently, we've been doing very well with getting into the opposition boxes, penalty area, creating chances, but not taking them. Now, yesterday, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, Dan's on his way. I mean, the last time we had stats like this is when we went away to Arsenal. And Arsenal absolutely pummeled us with the ball. And I think we got a draw that day. Was that the 0-0? I think. From a personal perspective, Baz, we got what we wanted. Shame they forgot their roles. Free didn't. Yeah. I mean, it does say enough, doesn't it? But we're going to come back to the stats because Dan's made it. Hello, Dan.
Sorry, I'm late, mate.
It's all right. Don't you worry about it. We're always late at some point, aren't we? It's a shame the Crystal Palace player was late at the back post and ended up nodding it in.
Jeez. Yeah, it just was not our day. It just hasn't been our week.
No, I was saying at the start there, there's more questions than answers after that display, especially considering we had the lineup we expected and we wanted.
Right.
Tonali starting, apparently our best midfield three together, Tonali, Bruno and Willock. Dan Burn coming back in. And then you look at the performance, and a lot of people have said it. We weren't overrun like we did against Arsenal, and I think it was 2019 or 2020 where we only had one shot on goal.
Right.
But they overran us. We were backs to the wall, all that sort of stuff. But we weren't yesterday.
No.
And it was just everything defensive-wise seemed pretty good right up until the last minute, of course. But there was just nothing going forward. So the big question is losing Isak after 22 minutes the be-all to end-all to our attacking threat? Because Barnes comes on for him, which I thought, why isn't he bringing Usler on? Or why isn't he bringing Wilson on? If he doesn't trust Usler, you bring Wilson on. And then if Wilson can't last the whole rest of the game, you then take him off for Usler and give him 10 minutes at the end. We just lost all our attacking intent straight away, didn't we?
Agreed. Yep. Again, yeah. Like for like, if you're looking for a similar size striker, looking for someone to do the work, you bring on Asula instead. And we didn't get him. And I think you were saying it on Twitter. You were saying you don't see what Eddie sees in training, and that's why we're not seeing. But at the same time, we saw him in the cup, and he looked decent. So why not give him a run? Why not give him, especially you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. If you play him at home and he's useless, then he gets just slaughtered by the home fans. If you play him away and he does well, then he comes home a hero, and you set him up for possible failure in the next home match. So I mean, it's so hard, and that's why I'm not going to be, an Eddie out, merchant. I can't. Again, he's got so much credit in the bank for what he's done in the last 3 years, but at the same time, he looks bereft of ideas. He just I get so frustrated. If it's not working, why not throw Miggy on? We know what Miggy can do. We know what Miggy can do against Palace, for crying out loud. Why not just give him a chance? We've got all these options, and yet we saved all of them until the last 10 minutes, and we didn't even have a shot on goal. It boggles the mind.
We had one shot, but not on target. That was the frustrating thing.
Well, that was the talk in the pub. Was we had a shot, not on target, and yet we were winning at that point. Only because it was And what did I say about Gahey the other day?
You did. A lot of people said that he's going to score for us.
If if he looks average, we're going to look like we've overpaid if we get him.
Mm.
You know, at the same time, you know, here he scores for his new club. Yeah,
And then he assists for his old club.
Oh my God, the assist was fantastic.
Great
You know,
cross.
I was frustrated yesterday, and especially since, you know, we were in the pub, and I did our watch along, which was awkward simply because I don't think anybody in my crowd was expecting it. And yeah, so I haven't had a chance to go back and look at the TikTok to see how that looked. But it was
to find it, to be honest with you. I've been looking for it, and I don't think you can see the live. I don't know. It's a bit
what
weird.
well, I wonder if it's sitting there as a recording that we haven't released in TikTok.
Maybe,
You know, because
maybe
I did it a live. I just said live,
Mm.
just like I would on Instagram. So I don't know. We're still learning. We're still figuring it out.
We are.
But I've been rambling, so I apologize.
The one thing that really frustrated me was Eddie Howe's comments at the end of the game. Now, when Eddie Howe took the job, he was told by Kevin Keegan, "You have to be honest with the Newcastle fans. If we play bad, you say we play bad. If we played well, you say you played well. You don't try to pull the wool over the Geordie's eyes, because we know our football. We know what's good and we know what's bad. And we were terrible." But he actually comes out and says there was good, there was this and that, and we've lost our competitive edge. I was like, well, why though? I mean,
You're not kicking him up the backside on the training pitch. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Make evening, make. I mean, I actually liked Anthony Gordon's reaction after the game. I don't know if you've seen his interview on Twitter. I thought that was very good. He said we defended well. It wasn't from a lack of trying, is
Right.
what he's basically saying, which you can see that in the players a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, where's that Nottingham Forest performance gone, where we were creating chances? We were creating chances against West Ham, even though we got beat. We were creating chances against Brighton, even though we got beat. We just seem to lose is it confidence? Can you blame it on confidence?
I don't know. Go back and watch the We Are Newcastle, documentary on Amazon. I'm waiting for Eddie to just fucking hell, mate. What the hell is going on? Come on, lads, what's going on? And we're not seeing it. It's just it's as if they're trying, but I don't think they're trying hard enough. I don't think we're not getting the balls in the boxes. We're not getting the balls in the box that can be put away. We're not serving the ball in areas where the strikers can get to it. It looks like our strikers it looks like our forwards are a yard off pace, for whatever reason. And we know that Gordon and Barnes are blistering, and yet they seem lackluster. You're right. I don't know if it's because we've lost the competitive edge. I don't know if it's because, I don't think it's a question of having heads turned or anything like that. I mean, there was talk in the summer of Liverpool after Gordon and all that. I don't think that's it. Have they become complacent because they know that there's nothing coming off the bench to challenge them?
The bench was strong, wasn't it? That was the thing.
It was, but Eddie wasn't going to use it. That's the thing that irritated me. Was Barnes really the first option when Isak was coming off?
You mentioned about putting balls into the box. The frustrating thing that I saw when we were in the wide positions is there was only one player in the box. Now, what's the point in throwing the ball into the box if there's only one player getting up to be in the box?
Right.
That's another thing that's frustrating me at the moment. You looked at how many players were in the box when Palace were throwing the ball in. The whole team was almost in there at one point. Other teams have done it against us, but every time we looked to, we were against Arsenal, we were lucky because there was only Isak in the box, but the cross was that good. It landed right on his head. But you can't throw balls into the box when you haven't got a 6-foot guy in there to try and win the headers. And we didn't have that when Isak went off. So that makes me wonder why we didn't put a striker on the pitch in the first place for strike like for like, because as soon as you put Gordon up front, he plays it in a different way. He gets into different positions. But then when he looks up, he's supposed to be in there. It's like Harry Kane playing for England. That's what I said on the live show. When he came and got the ball off the centre-backs, I was like, oh, we've got another Harry Kane here.
Right.
Look what he's doing. Look where he is. And it's like
playing way deep, and he doesn't need to be deep. If he's going to play the 9, he needs to play the 9.
Yeah.
You know, which is why I was like, why don't you throw Wilson on?
Yeah.
If Wilson is supposedly fit now, I mean, we know he's not match fit, but if he's supposedly fit, if they've supposedly examined everything about his sleep patterns and his nutrition and everything, trying to get him as fit as he possibly can be. If he's fit, why not throw him on in the 22nd minute? And if he can only last the half, well, then you throw Asula on. But I didn't think Barnes was the first option off the bench. I didn't. And if you're going to do that, then throw J7 up there, and let Gordon play behind him, and put Barnes over on the left. And I don't know.
It's weird. I mean, I kind of don't agree with this, Gary. That we can't break teams down, because we were creating chances in the last 2 games against low blocks, against Brighton and against West Ham. We should have had 2 or 3 against each team. So it's not that we've been found out, and it's not that we can't do it. The problem is that we're not consistent enough, and we're not being ruthless enough by putting our chances away. That's the problem for me. But yesterday it was a complete different kettle of fish.
If you have to pull off Isak, you know what I thought? If you're going to pull off Isak, then put on Trippier and throw Livramento up wide right. Move Gordon back over the left. I don't know. I was so annoyed. I was just so annoyed with the substitutions yesterday that to me they just didn't make sense. And we were expecting Bruno to be dropped, because we thought Bruno is losing
a slight injury as well.
Yep. So I was surprised to see Tonali, Willock, and Bruno from the start. I was thrilled to see Tonali play the 101 minutes. That was wonderful, because I think we need to see more of what he can do. But it just, I don't know. I was annoyed yesterday, and it was hard to do the match reaction, because I was pissed off. I'm not looking forward to Wednesday night, even though Liverpool has a day less rest than we do.
They're on fire at the moment, though.
They have a roster that they can just chop change. Slot has got them doing fantastic things. What was it? The stat I just saw? They're unbeaten in 19 out of 21
games or something like that.
And they haven't done that since 1989.
Yeah.
And it was the same, 19 out of 21. Just and they had a good match tonight. I'm not looking forward to it.
Mick's right, though. It's a Newcastle thing to do, though, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, everyone slated Anthony Gordon, but again, he got a 7 in the stats wise, which means he did a few things right. I thought Tonali was probably our second best player on the pitch, playing in the right position. I liked seeing him in the 6 sort of role and trying to dictate things. Bruno didn't really turn up, which is a worry, because he is our key person when it comes to, creativity. Willock, again, lackluster performance from him. I don't know what's going on, whether he's carrying a niggle with his ankle. Maybe he shouldn't have started the game. Lewis Hall had his worst game for us, which is, I don't think he had a bad game, but his stats says he had a worse game than what I thought. But Dan Burn was excellent. And it showed why we missed him, and what a goal line clearance that was to keep us in the game. But I'll tell you the other thing that I tweeted out was, one thing I'm really frustrated about this Newcastle team is we've got pace, but we don't use it.
Right.
So
that's what I was saying a couple of minutes ago. I just, for whatever reason, we can't get up to speed.
But what I mean by we don't use it is counter-attacking. So did you notice the Palace chance that they had in the first half when they should have scored? And it came from our corner.
We don't chase those balls.
Well, it's not that we don't chase them. They were just so quick on the counter. We had both our centre-backs up. They exploited that. They were just so fast in the break. But we've got the pace to do that as well with our attacking players. But do you ever see Pope trying to get the game moving quickly again from a corner if he catches the ball. No. And this is what really frustrates me, because I used to watch Newcastle teams under Keegan, Bobby Robson, and the pace we had. One of the first things the keeper would do when he got the ball is he would look left or right straight away to get the attack going. And if we got on like the red arrows, you can score goals that way. City is showing at the moment that tiki-taka isn't always the best way to score goals. Look at Liverpool. Liverpool, ball goes to the keeper. They get the ball out quickly. They end up winning a penalty because Man City are scrambling back and they make a silly foul. Yep. There's none of that from us. It's like we're trying to be too much like City, but we're not good enough anywhere near to be like City. Tiki-taking the ball around the box and trying to find a penetrative pass, or we don't see the runs either from midfield to be able to make those passes. So it's frustrating. We're better when we've got our backs to the wall and we counter-attack.
Agreed.
And it was a away performance that felt like we were at home, because Palace made us look like we were the home team, struggling to break us down, and then hit us on the break to basically create the best chances of the game.
Yeah, agreed.
We did misplace it. The referee was also very frustrating. I know I'm not blaming the performance on the referee or the result on the referee, but how many times do we see all those niggling fouls when we were trying to get up to speed? And no yellow cards for it either until we do one and we get a yellow card.
Yep. No consistency.
Absolutely. Again, it's a tough one. The inconsistency of our players is mind-boggling. We beat Chelsea, beat then a third-placed Forest, beat Arsenal, but then lose to West Ham, Palace, and Munster one shot. I can't understand it. I can't either. Alongside basic passing accuracy is not there. The crossfield pass from last season isn't working. Thanks, Roger. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to stay calm as well.
Is it because we're missing Trippier?
It could be. Trippier could be. I mean, I've always said Trippier is a quality right back. And his passing's better. His forward thinking is better. But Tino's obviously quicker. So he has different attributes. But
I'm sitting there, if we're screaming for a right winger, if we're looking for someone to play that right wing slot, and we've got Tino, who has played that position at Southampton in a pinch, you know, with a Trippier behind him, couldn't we see a right side that's pretty tough to break down?
We could. The only thing that I worry about Tino being in an advanced position is his quality up front isn't good enough.
Right.
I personally don't think so. When I've seen him get into the last third, he's crossing, his decision making. I don't think he gets into good positions as well.
But subconsciously, Baz, he's also having to think about having to get back. If you don't have to get back because you know you've got Trippier back there, now your mind is in an attacking third. You know, now all of a sudden you're concentrating on getting the best ball into the box. You're getting, you know, making sure that you don't lose that second ball on the right touch line. You know, if you're scrambling for the ball up in the corner, you're trying to win the ball so that you can put the ball in the box. You're not worried about having to chase the left winger down the touchline to stop him. So it's an experiment. But again, you know, look at what Miggy can do when he's got Trippier behind him. You know, I'm with you. I would love to see Mbeumo. The guy from Brighton. If we could get him, that would be fantastic. If we could get him and a center back in the same center, a right-sided center back in the same window, you know, that would be fantastic. You know, my frustration is, you know, are they going to make us sell somebody in order to buy somebody when we can't get anybody? The only players that would raise money for us at this point are Bruno, Gordon, Isak, possibly J7 or a Tonali. Those are the only players that people would be interested in.
Yep, I agree.
And we don't want to lose any of them. We want to, you know, can you take a Wilson off our hands? Can you take a Miggy off our hands? Can you take a, you know, would you sell Joe Willock at this point?
No.
I don't think I would either. I agree. 100%.
I guess if you had a gun to your head and you were told, right, you've got to sell one to progress the club forward, and it
Would you give up Bruno?
depends on the value. I mean, Bruno's lost a lot of value this season, hasn't he? Really, when you think
I
about
wouldn't
it.
sell him. I wouldn't sell him. I would sell him to a continental club. I wouldn't even consider selling him to a rival.
I mean, Man City are the only club who really can afford him. If the
Correct.
£100 million is still there,
Correct.
I mean, Isak, 115 million. I mean, you can buy a lot with that, but I would hate to sell him to another Premier League club.
No, I would sell him. You know, I could see a Barcelona coming in for him. I could see a Real Madrid coming in for him because they're both struggling as well. Right.
But that's the problem. Barca don't have the money. They're in deep trouble as it is. So it's an interesting one. Who on the pitch is organising us? A set players, defending, bollocking players when needed. Well, you would hope that would be the defence. You don't need the captain to do that. You need Pope to speak up. You need Byrne to speak up. You need Shaw to speak up. They've all got plenty of experience. But Trippier was the main guy when, he marshalled that defence brilliantly.
Yep.
Trippier's a good shot. The game was crying out for Trippier and Kelly to come on to shut up the defence when Palace were throwing men forward in the last 10 minutes. We don't know what's going on with Trippier's injury. His head's at the moment, to be honest with you. That's another thing that we don't know, see or hear about, is it? I'd rather have Miggy on the right wing for balance if it means Gordon can finally go back to the left wing, as he's much better there. I absolutely agree. And what comes with soon, we need a pacey centre-back. Priority for me, an attacking right-sided player. We do need a pacey centre-back. That would help.
Was Gahey that guy?
I don't know how quick he is, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Yep. That's my fear, is that, we need somebody with pace. I mean, we've got Hall and Livramento. We know that Byrne can, get from the half line to the 18 in 3 steps, only because of his stride. But he's not speedy. We need someone who can get back. And I don't know. Tell me your right center back that's got that pace. I can't speak for one right now.
You don't always need pace, though. It's all about positioning, and you can gain a harder off for space if you're in the right areas, and you're watching the ball flight and the striker's movement, things like that. You can, tough one. Right, we'll talk about J7 for a little bit because he had probably one of his worst games in the Newcastle shirt for a very long time. Is it down to what's happening in his personal life at the moment? His house has been robbed twice. He's fearful of his family when he's away. Is that an excuse, or is that an actual realism that, these guys aren't robots?
They're not robots. They're humans. We've heard that. We've said that. Maybe he's, that's a subconscious thing that he's got going on. I mean, what are you going to move house during the holidays to try and, do something different? I don't know. I feel for him. What do you do? Are you going to get bodyguards now or full-time security to
watch the house,
to patrol the house? Right. So over here, it's called Simply Safe. It costs about 30 cents a day. Full-time 24/7 monitoring. You get to build your own security system. This is not this program is not sponsored by anyone. I've just been watching too much YouTube lately.
But the other thing with Joe Linton as well, though, is he's been asked to play in so many different positions. Is it finally catching
100%.
up with him that he can't be a magician and play in every single position and perform perfectly? I mean, you started on the right wing again. He started on the left wing.
Yep.
Then he's got moved around again. He's at left back at one point in the game, trying to show things up, playing 5 at the back, trying to hold on to the lead. But is that another problem as well? We're asking too much of him and expecting too much of him.
Is he knackered? Is he just, because he's played so much in so many positions, is he just, is he just weary? I mean, he could just be, hi, Andy. Could he just be, his brain's not in it, Do we have a sports psychologist?
I believe so. Yeah.
So what's that? What is that guy? Is that person earning their money right now? I don't know.
Probably got too many people banging on the door at the moment.
Could very well be. Yep. Something's not right. And I said this in the match reaction to the West Ham game. Something's not right now. And I don't know if it's communication amongst the players. It's the communication with the coaching staff. Is it, things on the training pitch are not doing what? Yes. That's what we said yesterday as well. Gahey scored both against us and for us yesterday. Do they cancel each other out? He had a great game yesterday, even the own goal notwithstanding.
But I'm looking at the pitch and I'm looking at all the ratings. Everything down the left-hand side was terrible.
Yep.
So Lewis Hall, Joe Willock, then Bruno in the middle, Isaac up front, Joe Linton, all sixes, like under 6.5 for everyone almost.
Yep.
That's terrible for us. That's not like us. But then the other side of it, Dan Burn, Fabian Shaw, Tino, Tonali and Gordon are all green and in the sevens, and some of them in the high sevens. So you wonder why that's happened. I mean, our goal, even though it's an own goal, was very well worked, wasn't it? It was really nice to see a free kick well worked for a change. Tonali with a lovely, but I mean, it's to Gordon, who slams it across goal. I mean, anyone could have put that in the back of the net and it ends up being Gear, which is quite funny. But and that's the other thing. Again, it shows you that even though that free kick was worked on the training ground, where were the strikers? Where were the Newcastle players trying to get to the front post to try and score it themselves? It took a lucky deflection for us to score a goal.
And then Gordon celebrated as if he scored it himself.
Well, I think that was just he gets the assist. He gets the assist. So it is like he scored it. And that's what you want to see. It was the relief that they knew they were so bad and somehow we were 1-0 up. It reminded me of the Southampton game when we were down to 10 men. Nothing was really coming off, but we scored the goal and then we tried to hang on, didn't we? But it was a great set piece. It makes you wonder where this has been, because how many set pieces have we had and we've never scored from them? It's just an absolute nightmare. Who's actually in charge? Is Eels able to oversee everything? Eels is on the moment of doing a 6-month handover, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But they haven't announced anybody to come in to take over. Can we have Amanda back? Can we have Merdad back? I think did they get pushed out by Eels and Mitchell and everybody because they said, look, you were the figureheads until we got an experienced, leadership staff in place. Well, now Eels is gonna step down. So where are we in the progress there? Are we getting somebody who just got promoted? Ross, but that's for
that was scouting, wasn't that? Was for loan market and stuff like that, like loaning our players out and getting them. So it's a tough one, this one, because I feel Newcastle's lost a lot of the feel-good factor around the football club, not because of results, but because Merdad and Amanda are gone. If you look on Twitter after a game, when they were in sort of charge, they were always on Twitter.
Always. Yep.
Commiserations, great support, we got beat, blah, 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 but they were there, always there.
Yep.
And Jamie Rubin was there with them, but Jamie Rubin's still there, and I don't see him on Twitter as much.
Agreed.
So have we now lost this personal connection between owners and fans now? Have we lost all that?
I feel we have. I don't see that togetherness factor that we had immediately after the takeover. And for the championship qualifying year, the Champions League qualifying year. After every result, before every result, there were the faces. You could see that things were going to happen, and where is Ruben? Where is Paul Mitchell? If Paul Mitchell isn't going to be that person or that figurehead or that relatable identity that we can post up with and say, all right, things are going well, or things aren't going well. We're gonna, we're working diligently on the training pitch to put things right. We don't see any of that. It's quiet, and dare I say, it's almost Charnley-esque.
Yes.
In the lack of commentation.
This comment, I mean, I know the Saudis don't like people who go bankrupt and all this sort of stuff, but they sold their shares, fair enough. But why didn't they keep them on in some sort of capacity?
Yep.
Give
Ambassadorial role. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
An ambassador, give her the women's team. I know it's not the men's team, but they'll still be there. There'll still be the feel-good factor. They'll still be connected to Newcastle United. They'll still be at the games, women's games and men's game, because they love the football club. Yep. So there must have been a way to keep them in the loop somehow. Not as owners, but as ambassador roles, as you said.
Well, and then to have the papers just saying that now they're interested in going after Spurs, but that just smacks of not non-loyalty, but I mean, like you said, the feel-good factor all of a sudden goes out the window. It's like, oh well, they really didn't care about us at all. They're good. They chucked the club, chucked them out, and now there's kind of a resentment factor where they're like, well, then screw it, we'll go build somebody else up and get their feel-good factor going. Spurs gets rid of Levy and they get Amanda instead. Or is Amanda's health failing, or is Amanda's health in question right now? I mean, there was a certain element of that came up, that the Huntington's disease is something that flares up and then and can be detrimental in spurts, where it's energy sapping and I don't know.
We even employ them in the Eels role. I mean, I'd have them back any day of the week, but it just depends if they want to come back. Right, very quickly, don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diacro. 20% off using BARS20 for any of their T-shirts. Doesn't have to be any of the Newcastle range, but they've got great stuff.
I just got my order on Thursday, so I made on Monday, so I made sure that the Ted Lasso cutout that we had at the pub yesterday was wearing the Tyne Side of the Moon T-shirt from Diacro yesterday. So I need to put that out there. He looked great.
Absolutely brilliant. Link is in the description for all their stuff, so get buying, guys. And don't forget about this from Football Prizes, an absolute amazing competition. They do competitions normally every week, but this one's been going on for a week and a half because it's a big one. 6 instant win signed shirts you can get there. Rob Lee signed, framed LED light shirt. Absolutely amazing stuff. Only 499 tickets, $3.95 a ticket. So you've got a very good chance of winning something.
Do you have to be a UK address in order to win that?
Yes. You have to, because I had to buy John's tickets for him. But yes, unfortunately, they don't go abroad. I mean, because of the size of it, the frame shirt, it would cost them an absolute fortune to ship it abroad. But amazing stuff. So please check the description below for them. And then don't forget, we've got our amazing show on the 16th of January with Luke Edwards, right in the middle of a January transfer window. Looking forward to bending his ear on everything that goes on with that. So contact Superfan Dan 831@gmail.com for tickets, £10 per person, and all the money is going to Stanley Deaf Club and the NUFC Food Bank.
Yep.
Can't wait for that.
That's gonna be fun. Great night.
So apparently stress makes it worse, which it's understandable. I hear people saying we're still in the cup, etc. But what trophy will we ever win playing that way? You can win a trophy playing badly in the cup. That's the beauty of the cup. I watched at Barnsley against Bristol Rovers, I think it was. Barnsley had 17 attempts on goal. Bristol Rovers had 3, drew 0-0, beat them on penalties.
Yep.
Anything.
You just have to hold out for the 90 minutes. Yep.
Exactly. I have to say a big thank you to Gary V for giving the voucher he won yesterday. So grateful, lovely man. Absolutely.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, Gary's done well. He's giving it to Leslie so she can get herself a T-shirt from Terry Crow.
Nice.
Right. Eddie Howe. This is what Luke Edwards said, and I think, and it's not because he's doing a live show with us, but I think he's absolutely spot on with what he says here. If you think a change in manager is going to turn Newcastle into a better team, you are wrong. Horribly so. Football is full of ups and downs. You ride them, you absorb them, put things into context, and you come back for more. Howe won 3 games on the spin before the international break. They didn't lose today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget this, what Eddie Howe actually did for our football club. You know, he took us from 19th to safety, then took us into the Champions League. We've had 2 windows where he hasn't been backed.
Yep.
So why is it every week that we are now hearing, after even a draw, I know we played badly, but we didn't lose, Eddie Howe out, things have got to change. But how is it going to change? These same players are going to be managed by potentially another manager the same class as Eddie Howe.
And I'm sitting there thinking, who would want to take it? Who wants this other than Jose? Who wants this?
I don't think Jose would take it.
Well, if you read the rumor mill, he's desperate to come here at some point in some capacity because he wants to finish what Sir Bobby started.
Yeah. I like that.
I do too. But my question is, I mean, would you have taken? Let's say Eddie Howe is sacked. Would you have taken Ruud van Nistelrooy like Leicester did? I mean, there's another unproven, would you take Steve Cooper?
No.
Exactly. I'm just sitting there going, he's got too much credit in the bank. Eddie Howe has too much credit in the bank with us. He has done well for us. And as you said, he hasn't been backed properly and he's had shackles on him. He can't spend. We can't spend what we want to spend. It just pisses me off when you think about the Roman Abramoviches who changed Chelsea. When you think of Sheikh Mansour that changed Man City. When you think of what's his nuts from FSG Fenway Sports Group that changed Liverpool. I'm looking at the Glazers who have not changed Man U. I'm just thinking of the cartel is changing the rules to make sure that we can't spend the money that we know we have. To lose the players like Minta and Elliot Anderson, only to balance the books in order for us to be able to make a move. God damn it, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating when you know that if we could go out and spend 150 million in this next window, just because we can. I mean, even Pardew got backed better in a winter transfer market than Eddie Howe has. When you look at Yanga Mbiwa and Gouffran and Sissoko and all those guys that came in a January window.
Yeah.
Well,
made a difference. We stayed up that year because of it.
Exactly. And I'm just sitting there going, Eddie Howe can't do that unless Eddie Howe's able to go out and spend and get the 2 players in the 2 positions that we're desperate for. We're just going to continue to bang our heads against the wall, and that's the Eddie out people are just going to continue to get louder and louder. I'm with Luke on that one. I 3 wins on the spin before the international window. International windows always come at a detriment. The only people that haven't suffered in this last international break have been Liverpool. Look, how many people are chanting at Man City now? Pep out. Look, Pep's now lost 6 in a row. 6 in a row for the first time in his career.
God, if we lost 6 in a row, can you imagine how toxic it would be?
Exactly. We didn't lose yesterday. We lost against West Ham, absolutely, and that was piss poor. But we didn't lose yesterday. Shit, we were 90 seconds away from winning yesterday. So
winning poorly as well, and we didn't deserve to win. But
and it would have put us in what, 4th?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
we're still only 4 points behind.
We're
still only something like 4 or 6 points behind second. You know, it's not as bad as what it feels. The other thing of what really annoys me with all these Eddie Howe guys, right? A lot of them were around when Mike Ashley was in charge and did fuck all.
Yep.
Did nothing. Just sat there, took it, didn't want to speak up, didn't want to fight the regime, didn't want to do anything to get rid of them.
Yep.
And now we've got rid of them. We've got owners in who are trying their best, but like you said, shackles are on them. We've got a manager who wants the best for us and has had us at the highest finish we've had since Bobby Robson was here. Got us into a Champions League, got us into a cup final, which no one's done since a cup final. I think that last one was Ruud Gullit.
Right.
Yep. So, and now everyone seems to have a voice now. Oh, Eddie Howe's got to go and this and that, and no one's doing anything at the football.
Short memories.
Yeah,
short memories.
It's not just short memories. It's stupidity.
Fair enough.
I can't put it in any other way, and I'm sorry if I've upset anyone, but it's stupidity. That if you want a man like Eddie Howe, who turns up in the ground at 6 o'clock every morning, who works his backside off, who tries and tries and tries to make sure our football club is in the best position. And
Jules is spot on right there. Yep.
Yeah. The only way the rest of the league could even try to catch up would be to put the shackles on Chelsea, Man U, with no transfer fees. They're spending pigs. Well, yeah. I mean, it's never going to happen, is it? I mean, the amount of debt that Man United have got and they're still allowed to spend as much as they do is absolutely crazy.
And the reason is because they have revenue. Look at the global superpower that they are in terms of revenue. You know,
that's the problem.
How many people buy Man United jerseys in the Nike store in Times Square in New York City simply because they're there?
Yeah.
You know,
because they're Man U and they've had that rich success over the years, like Liverpool. You know, even City's revenue is probably lower than Man United's revenue.
Yeah.
Because of who they are.
Well, same thing. You know, I saw a Chelsea kid on a person the other night, and it just, you know, what is it about Chelsea? And they're like, oh, well, John Terry and Frank Lampard. And I was like, okay, but they haven't played for the club in a decade. What is it about Chelsea? And he's just like, oh, well, you know, and then they start pointing at all the players that they've gotten in, and I'm just going, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, well, you spent 80 million on Mudryk. Okay, good.
Yeah, and look how that's turned out. I mean, a new stadium helps, but does it really get us to the level of spending of what Chelsea are doing? You know, I mean, Arsenal have got the shackles on them a little bit. They can't really afford to go out.
No, but they spent 105 on. But they spent 105 on Rice.
Yeah, but that was their whole budget. Oh, they bought Havertz as well, didn't they?
Yeah, it didn't stop them.
Chelsea's globally, yeah. I mean, they won the Champions League. It helped so much. Every store I've been in has Liverpool, Man U, Real Madrid tops freely available. Even City don't have their pulling power. Exactly. So it just frustrates me. It really
but that's those are decades old reputations.
Yeah.
You know, you go back and look at how many. You go back and look at the 30 years of the Premier League and how many titles have Man U won? The most.
Too many. Yeah, they're level with Liverpool, aren't they? Liverpool this season are going to win the league and break the record again and be top dogs.
No, but that's in total history, not just the Premier League.
Oh yeah, Premier League. Obviously, Man United
are yards out front.
Streets ahead. Yeah.
Yep.
Because of Alex Ferguson.
Yep.
Oh,
it's been 11 years since he's been gone.
Yes.
And then we can look at our own history and say it's been 16 since Alan Shearer retired.
Right.
That hurts. That one hurts to even think about. Is it 16? It might be 18. Didn't he retire in 2006?
God, I can't remember.
It's 18. It's 18.
Can't be that long.
It is. It just hurts. It hurts when you think about it.
Frustrating.
Been following this club for a long, long time, and that's why I'm sitting there going, you know, do I want to see the likes of a Souness again, or a Sam Allardyce, or fucking Joe Kinnear? I'm thinking of the people who have led this club since Sir Bobby left. You know, the only ones that have understood the club were, you know, Glenn Roeder, having captained the team. You know, for all of his faults, at least Alan Pardew tried. You know, we get pissed
he
off
had a
about
great
that one.
season, didn't he? He had a fantastic season, but then he wasn't backed, and look what happened to him.
Well, but he also had a fantastic season on the back of what Chris Hughton was able to do with nothing. You know, and people love to talk about Rafa, but you know, at the same time, he sold Ivan Toney.
Yeah, right.
He didn't see something. He didn't see what apparently was right there in front of everybody's faces.
No,
so
it wasn't.
I don't know.
It wasn't. I'll tell you what, the Ivan Toney stuff, right? So he sold him at the time where he was told he had to sell a player to buy another player.
Sound familiar?
So it wasn't about him not seeing his potential. The problem is his potential didn't really come out until what, 5-6 years later. He ended up.
Oh, was it Peterborough? I mean, we sold him to Peterborough.
Yeah, but Peterborough
and
were
then
in League One, though, weren't they? So let's think about the levels here. So it took him a while in League One to get settled, and then he started to dominate it. Brentford then bought him in the Championship, took him 2 years, started dominating it. Then he got into the Premier League, and now he looks like a very good striker. But you're talking 5-6 years. Now, would an Ivan Toney, when we were where we were, get the opportunities at Newcastle to become that player? The answer is no. The answer is no. He wouldn't. And that is why when everyone says to me, like, Rafa sold Ivan Toney, well, he had to, and he was nowhere near the finished article that he is now. And
Agreed.
I don't think he ever would have been that finished article if he hadn't have gone to Peterborough and
proven
lower
himself.
league stuff, proven himself, then done it in the Championship, and then he's done it in the Premier League.
At the same time, you know, he also got rid of Mitrovic, and look at what Mitrovic did with Fulham, and now earned himself a spot over in Saudi Arabia. Could a Mitrovic come back and do the business? Look at Nile Ranger. Yeah, that one just hurts when you
wasted
think
talent.
Yeah, there's a kid that got too big for his head. You know, so
still is.
Yes.
Mitro, again, a lot of Newcastle fans when we sold him were like, yeah, not surprised. I mean, he didn't really do anything. He struggled to live up to that number 9. When he went to Fulham and he found, I always said Mitrovic will, when he finds his feet in the Premier League, he'll be a fantastic striker. He does it at international level. We just didn't play to his strengths, like fully to his strengths all the time. Fulham did. He scored all those goals. I said I would sign him, but it's going to cost us 50, 60, 70 million. And he decided to go over to Saudi Arabia for the money.
Paycheck.
So there we go again. Another player who wasted his talent. But you can't blame him. So, the Nile Ranger was just a waste of space, unfortunately. I remember him scoring under Pardew at Stamford Bridge, beating Chelsea 3-2 in a Carabao Cup game. And we all thought, ooh, tasty player. And then we never saw him again because of his attitude. Which is such a shame. It really is. But back to Eddie Howe. I mean, is he in trouble, do you think, or not?
I don't.
Just need a straight answer. I don't think so.
No. And people who want him out have short memories and are not thinking straight. I think it's an emotional response. You know, again, we're 4 points out, 5 points out of 4th. We're not that far behind. And there's teams are going to. We're going into the heavy festive period now. There are going to be teams that drop points. We just need to make sure that we're not that team. There were 2 teams this week that we should have gotten 6 points against. Instead, we're coming away with 1.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
So maybe we're having our drop point right now, and then we kick off.
Push on. You never know, do you? I mean, we've still got a negative, like a 0 goal difference, which is in our favour. We just need to hammer a team, which would be nice. But Villa, 12th. right?
Yep.
19 points. We're above them on goal difference. I don't hear any Villa fans shouting for Unai Emery to be sacked.
No, and we've got to be ready for them on Boxing Day.
Yes, we do. Well,
Pardon me.
so 19 points gives you 12. If you win 2 games, you could literally jump up to second.
Yep.
6 points. 6 points covers from second to 12th.
It's ridiculously tight today. Yep.
Even one win jumps you potentially up to 6th. Just one win.
Exactly. Yep. I
And
think
then,
it's way too early to be saying out.
It's far too tight to be saying out. It's far too tight for any. He hasn't been backed in 2 windows, which is the frustrating thing for me. Had he been backed, had he had money spent, right, and he is failing because of that, and there's players there, and then not getting the tune out of them, I would say, yeah, maybe it's time to look for a new manager. I don't know who that would be because I don't know what's out there, to be honest with you. But then, yeah, I'll be thinking, need a new man, but he hasn't had the backing. It's like he hasn't had the backing. It's just the PSR has stumped us. We had the whole Ashworth debacle, which has really stumbled our progression when it comes to transfers. Mitchell has struggled. He said that it was the worst thing that he probably could have done was come right in the middle of a transfer window because everyone's looking at him and everyone's looking at Eddie and saying, do they get on? Do they not? And it could be nothing to do with them. It's just a bad window. But January is going to be
and having the Ashworth thing hanging over his head at the same time.
Exactly. So I think you've got to give them till, I still think, the end of next season.
Yeah.
And if we haven't, and now again, you've also got to set expectations. Now, for me, the expectations have got to come from the very top. And they've also got to be relayed right to the very bottom and to the fans.
Yep.
Because if the owner's expectations are, right, we want you to finish in the top 6 next season, we need to know that.
Yep.
If the owners are saying, right, we want you in the top 4, we need to know that because we need to know whether the pressure on the manager is right.
And what we saw from Yasser was he says, we want to be number 1.
Eventually.
Okay?
But when?
Right, exactly. If we want to be number 1, let's show it.
Yeah.
But we can't because we've got shackles all over us.
Exactly.
We can't do the sponsorships that will give us the money. Everything comes down to revenue, but at the same time, we can't make the money because we can't do. You and I both know that we could put the naming rights on the training ground and Saudi Air or Riyadh, something, and get 300 million a year. Because our owners can do it.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed to.
Exactly.
But
I think the expectations have got to be set at the top and it's got to be relayed through everyone, and that whether that be through the supporters club or through Nufc or whoever it is, we have to know what the expectations are. We have to know, are they happy with Eddie and the club's progression right now? Are they looking at, again, between top 6 next season? And then we can then, as fans, judge on that level. Because at the moment, the fans are still judging Champions League. They're still judging top 4, potentially top 5. And is that fair with how the club has been run and supported? And I get that as a fan. I want the best for the club. But I also have a realization, and some of the fans don't. And sometimes they need to be put in that realization, don't they?
And we would have been in Europe this year had Man United not won the FA Cup. That just pisses me off as well. When you think about it, the team that we followed, that we finished above last season, got into Europe. It just nothing.
Adds a little sourness to it, doesn't it?
we peaked. We know we peaked and got top 4 a season, maybe 2 early.
Far too early.
I think we just had a hell of a season. We had a togetherness, a feel-good factor. Again, the Merdad and Amanda road show where everything was, I can't read that one.
That's good. I think PIF aren't panicking yet. The investment is still going well. It's taken time due to PSR, but they know it's a project and projects take time. It's a shame our fans don't know.
Yep. Well, it's just, it goes back to decades of frustration. it just goes back to, and you can call me a happy clapper if you want. I know that's what they call them on another channel, but I don't. I'm not an Eddie Howe merchant. I'm not an Eddie Howe out merchant. I love to see he and Tyndall, high five each other on the touchline when things are going right. I would love to hear more from Graham Jones. I'd like to hear what Graham Jones is doing for us, because we heard a lot from him, when he was promoted in the Steve Bruce era, and he was kept on.
Mhm.
He's the only coach that we kept on. I would love to hear more from him and hear what he's bringing to the party. What part is he playing? We see him giving hugs to every single player at the end of every pitch, at the end of every game. He's on the pitch. He's geeing him up. He's slapping him on the shoulder. He's putting his arm around him, giving him a cuddle. He's doing all the right things. But what else is he doing for us? We
don't know. Again, it's a coaching and the private, and off the pitch. It's
commentary that we're not getting. And like you said, if the expectations are up here, then let's hear they're up here and let it filter down, and everybody knows what the expectation is this season.
Yeah.
For us, the expectation is, can we get a player in this transfer window, because we didn't in the last two.
Yeah.
And and we're gonna get Botman back, and that's gonna feel like a new signing. Yeah. We're gonna get Lascelles back and get some. If we don't sell him, we'll have some depth at right center back again. There are things that haven't gone right for us yet, but it's not doom and gloom. It's just the unfortunates and how we recover from them.
Yeah. The fact that we say that we aren't Eddie Howe out yet on social as a regular personal attacks an individual that aren't called out, crazy double standards by the minority. Yeah, I've stopped saying things on Twitter now because I just can't be bothered with it.
Are you dropping Twitter, Baz? Are you going to get off of Twitter?
No, I just stopped posting as much. I'm not joining Blue Sky. I'm not moving over and starting again with my personal account. I'll just keep the channel one on it and just enjoy that. But less interaction, I think, is probably better. I'd rather talk about cricket at the moment.
I've noticed that.
Well, we're winning again. But yeah, it's getting too ridiculous now, the whole battles on social media. It doesn't interest me anymore. I like TikTok now as well. I like doing our videos and interacting with people on that in the comments. There was one dickhead today though, which I've had to sort out, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, I'm enjoying that as well. So the less I do on Twitter, the better I feel.
So a friend of mine and I, we have a mental health day coming up on Wednesday, and we're going to meet up at the pub and watch that match together. And then we got another couple of friends who asked me to bring another one of the little TVs that I bring to the Saturday matches, because the Wolves are playing at the same time. So we're hoping that we can get Liverpool, Newcastle up on the big screen in the pub.
I'm sure you will.
And just it's noon, so noon on a Wednesday. I'm sure it'll probably be slow enough that we could probably get that. So we'll figure it out. But looking forward to having some good banter with my friend Kevin, and hopefully a couple of others that will also join us. Like I said, a preemptive mental health day, in the middle of the week, during the soon to be incredibly busy festive season. So looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. Well, the channel will be live again Monday or Tuesday for a little look ahead to Wednesday's game. I'll try and do a watch along on Wednesday after work. But I was getting very frustrated with my phone and the buffering and everything doing that live watch along on Sunday. Saturday. It was very, very frustrating. But we will be back. Just keep an eye out. Get your notification bells on and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll let you know that way. It's going on my Christmas card to Baz. I will not react to Twitter messages this Christmas.
If I can pop on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the next live show is, the prediction or the the prediction show, I'll do my best. The preview mode. Yep.
Awesome. It's on Prime on Wednesday. Oh, I've got Prime. Get in. It's on Prime. I will be no buffering.
There you go.
Buzzing. Right. Thanks for everyone keeping us going in the chat. I know it's not a great result to talk about, but we didn't lose. Silver lining.
We didn't lose. Yep.
Silver lining, guys. So take
Spirits
care.
up, folks. Spirits up.
Exactly. We've only got Liverpool on Wednesday. We're going to batter them.
It's going to be
Do
fantastic.
not clip that.
Darwin could, have a Darwin day on Wednesday.
He didn't start today, so you'll probably start on Wednesday. And
well,
you know what happened last time when he played, so let's not tempt that.
But we could also see, Gakpo and Darwin show where they can't hit the side of a barn with a crop duster. So
you're
who
tempting
knows?
fair, yeah. You're doing the commentary curse because Gakpo scored today.
I don't want to talk about. Well, all right. Sorry I was late. I'll see you on Wednesday.
It's fine. See you on Wednesday. Take care, everyone.
Bye, all.